Desertification in Sub-Saharan Africa, Causes and Consequences. Title: Desertification in Sub-Saharan Africa, Causes and Consequences. Introduction. Desertification is a pressing environmental issue that has a profound impact on Sub-Saharan Africa, a region characterized by its vulnerability to climatic changes. Sub-Saharan Africa encompasses a wide range of ecosystems, including grasslands, semi-arid regions, and contiguous drylands, which are particularly susceptible to desertification. In this article, we will explore the causes and consequences of desertification in Sub-Saharan Africa, shedding light on the urgent need for sustainable solutions to mitigate its effects. Causes of desertification. 1. Climate change. Climate change plays a significant role in desertification. Rising temperatures and erratic rainfall patterns, coupled with prolonged droughts and increased evaporation rates, exacerbate the process of land degradation. Sub-Saharan Africa has experienced changes in seasonal rainfall patterns, leading to longer dry seasons and diminishing water availability. These climatic changes intensify desertification, putting strain on already fragile ecosystems. 2. Deforestation. Deforestation poses another major contributor to desertification. The removal of trees and vegetation cover results in increased soil erosion and decreased water retention capacity. Sub-Saharan Africa has witnessed extensive deforestation due to factors such as population growth, agricultural expansion, and the demand for firewood and timber. Deforestation amplifies the vulnerability of once fertile land, accelerating desertification processes. 3. Overgrazing. Widespread overgrazing, particularly in arid and semi-arid regions, has devastating consequences for soil health and vegetation. The heavy grazing pressure on vegetation inhibits natural regrowth and regeneration, leading to the degradation of the grassland ecosystem. Overgrazing is often a result of population growth, limited alternative livelihood opportunities, and the expansion of commercial livestock farming, exacerbating desertification in the region. 4. Unsustainable agricultural practices. Unsustainable agricultural practices, such as excessive use of chemical fertilizers, monocropping, and poor irrigation techniques, contribute significantly to desertification. These practices degrade soil quality, deplete nutrients, and decrease water retention capacity, making the land more prone to desertification. Sub-Saharan Africa heavily relies on agriculture for livelihoods, and unsustainable farming practices further strain the fragile ecosystems. Consequences of desertification. 1. Loss of biodiversity. Desertification leads to the loss of various plant and animal species, impacting biodiversity in Sub-Saharan Africa. The destruction of habitats and the transformation of once productive ecosystems until barren lands result in the displacement or extinction of numerous species, disrupting ecological balance. 2. Food insecurity. As desertification reduces arable land, food production declines, exacerbating food insecurity in Sub-Saharan Africa. Agricultural productivity is significantly reduced, negatively affecting the livelihoods of communities that depend on agriculture. This further perpetuates poverty, malnutrition, and social instability. 3. Water scarcity. Desertification contributes to water scarcity, as the drying of rivers, lakes, and groundwater sources becomes more prevalent. Water is essential for both human survival and agricultural activities. Water scarcity exacerbates existing socioeconomic challenges, forcing communities to travel long distances for water, often resulting in conflict and human suffering. 4. Economic impacts. Desertification imposes significant economic burdens on affected regions. Declining agricultural productivity, loss of income, and increased healthcare costs due to deteriorating living conditions (PL). Strains on local economies. Moreover, desertification can trigger migration, leading to urban overcrowding and straining urban economies. 5. Climate change amplification. The desertification process in sub-Saharan Africa is intricately linked to climate change, forming a vicious cycle. As desertification progresses, vast tracts of barren land contribute to increased greenhouse gas emissions, further exacerbating climate change. This amplifies the challenge of managing both desertification and climate change simultaneously. Desertification in sub-Saharan Africa is a pressing environmental issue that has profound consequences for the region. Sub-Saharan Africa is vulnerable to climatic changes and its diverse ecosystems, such as grasslands, semi-arid regions, and contiguous drylands, are particularly susceptible to desertification. In this article, we will explore the causes and consequences of desertification in sub-Saharan Africa and emphasize the urgent need for sustainable solutions to mitigate its effects. One of the primary causes of desertification in sub-Saharan Africa is climate change. Rising temperatures, erratic rainfall patterns, prolonged droughts, and increased evaporation rates contribute to the process of land degradation. The region has experienced changes in seasonal rainfall patterns, leading to longer dry seasons and diminishing water availability. These climatic changes intensify desertification and strain already fragile ecosystems. Deforestation is another significant contributor to desertification in sub-Saharan Africa. The removal of trees and vegetation cover results in increased soil erosion and decreased water retention (ca). Capacity. Factors such as population growth, agricultural expansion, and the demand for firewood and timber have led to extensive deforestation in the region. Deforestation amplifies the vulnerability of once fertile land, accelerating desertification processes. Overgrazing is a widespread issue in arid and semi-arid regions of sub-Saharan Africa and has devastating consequences for soil health and vegetation. Heavy grazing pressure inhibits natural regrowth and regeneration, leading to the degradation of grassland ecosystems. Overgrazing often occurs due to population growth, limited alternative livelihood opportunities, and the expansion of commercial livestock farming, exacerbating desertification in the region. Unsustainable agricultural practices also contribute significantly to desertification in sub-Saharan Africa. Excessive use of chemical fertilizers, monocropping, and poor irrigation techniques degrade soil quality, deplete nutrients, and decrease water retention capacity. Sub-Saharan Africa heavily relies on agriculture for livelihoods, and unsustainable farming practices further strain fragile ecosystems. Desertification in sub-Saharan Africa has severe consequences, including the loss of biodiversity. Food insecurity is another consequence of desertification in sub-Saharan Africa. As arable land reduces due to desertification, food production declines, exacerbating food insecurity in the region. Agricultural productivity is significantly reduced, negatively affecting the livelihoods of communities that depend on agriculture. This further perpetuates poverty, malnutrition, and social instability. Desertification also contributes to water scarcity, as rivers, lakes, and groundwater sources dry up. Water scarcity affects both human survival and agricultural activities, exacerbating existing socio-economic challenges. Communities are forced to travel long distances for water, often resulting in conflict and human suffering.